All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling something that's probably frustrated, well, pretty much everyone at some point, the failing budget. But look, we aren't just going to sit here and look at why budgets fail. We're going to dive into how fixing them is actually about something way, way bigger. It's about reclaiming your life leverage. It's about shifting from the state of just constantly reacting to everything to a state of complete and total control.
So let's kick things off with a very specific number, 30. Now, why 30? Because most budgets, they don't fall apart in 90 days. They don't fail in 6 months. They fail in exactly 30 days. You build your budget on the first of the month. You feel like a completely new person, ready to take on the world. But by the 30th, you're right back to your old habits. And you know what? That's not just bad luck. That is a measurable pattern. And more importantly, it's a completely fixable one. It usually goes a little something like this. On day one, you sit down, you open up your fancy new budgeting tool, you meticulously set your categories for rent, groceries, savings, and you feel absolutely in control. But then, bam, we hit day 12. An unexpected expense completely breaks it. Maybe your car needs a new part or a friend wants to go out for drinks, and you tell yourself, oh, it's fine, I'll just make it up later. Well, by day 20, the guilt sets in and you've completely stopped checking the app. And by day 30, you aren't even budgeting anymore. You're just watching your bank balance drop, crossing your fingers, and hoping it lasts until payday. Literally just like the month before that.
Now hold on a second, because we really need to shift gears here. This isn't actually about spreadsheets. This is all about control. And right now you're losing it every single month. Think about it. A person who cannot hold a budget for 30 days simply cannot hold a plan for anything longer than 30 days. That means no house, no real savings, and absolutely no long-term goals. Because being broke, it isn't just uncomfortable. It is deeply, deeply compromising. Every single decision you make when you're just one bad week from zero is a decision made from fear, not strategy. When you don't have that financial cushion, you lose your leverage. You end up taking jobs you literally shouldn't take because you need the paycheck way too badly to even try and negotiate. You stay in bad situations, bad relationships, simply because you just don't have the power to walk away. You say yes when you desperately, desperately want to say no. The real cost of a budget that dies on day 30 isn't just a missed savings goal. It's that you keep starting over instead of actually moving forward in your life.
So how exactly do we fix this? Enter the playbook, 5 rules for control. Let's dive right in.
All right, the number one reason budgets die is what I like to call budgeting for the fake month. Now, the fake month is this financial fantasy land, right? The sun is shining, there's zero car trouble, and unexpected expenses are just magically paid for by unicorns. But then you meet the real month. Real months have actual surprises, real emergencies, and irregular expenses. If your budget is built for the fake month, the very first surprise blows up the entire plan, and you feel like a massive failure. But in reality, your plan was just never built to survive contact with actual life. Which brings us to rule number 1, the buffer category. Look, a budget that doesn't account for things going wrong isn't a budget, it's a wish list. You absolutely must build a buffer category into your budget every single month. And a true buffer isn't just funded, if there's extra cash at the end. It exists specifically to absorb those inevitable surprises so they don't completely destroy your whole month's plan. Moving on to reason number 2. You set your budget on the first of the month, and you literally don't look at it again until the 28th, when you're already in deep, deep financial trouble. The harsh reality here? A budget you don't check is already dead. You just haven't stumbled upon the body yet. So, the fix for this is rule number 2, review weekly. If you aren't looking at your budget every single week, you do not have a budget. You just have a memory of one. It honestly only takes 10 minutes every Sunday. You just check what you spend and you adjust what's left. That is it. People who actually do this, they stay in control. People who don't end up finding out they're completely broke on day 25 instead of day 5. And actually, if you catch an issue on day 5, there's still plenty of time to pivot and fix it. Okay, reason number 3. This is a big one. Most people fill up the bucket for their bills first, their fun stuff second, and then their savings just gets whatever drops into that last bucket. And what's usually left? Absolutely nothing. Budgeting the leftovers instead of the priorities is completely backwards. When you do this, you are quite literally treating your own future like an afterthought. To reverse this terrible habit, we use rule number 3. Pay yourself first. Step 1 is super simple. Savings and debt payoff must be your very first line item, not your last. Step 2, move that money out of your checking account the exact same day you get paid. Just get it out of there. And step 3, build the rest of your month around what's left over. Because let's be real, if saving only happens when there's extra money lying around, spoiler alert, it's never going to happen because there is never extra money.
Now, I want you to think about a different number, 1. This represents reason number 4, and honestly, this is the one that takes down the most well-meaning people. One bad week. You do great for 2 weeks, and then you have one emotional spend, a night out or a random purchase you really didn't need. Instead of simply adjusting, your brain goes straight into this toxic all-or-nothing thinking. You tell yourself, well, I already messed it up, and you scrap the entire 30-day plan over just one mistake.
Here's the antidote to that. Rule number 4. Perfection was never the standard. Recovery speed is. Discipline isn't about never breaking the plan. Discipline is entirely about how fast you get back on it. One bad week absolutely does not mean you have to scrap the whole 30 days. You simply adjust the next category, tighten up your spending a bit, and keep moving forward. And finally, reason number 5 why your budget dies: nobody is checking you. You are the only person in the entire world who knows if you stuck to your plan. And when there's no accountability and zero consequences, it is incredibly easy to quietly let your standards slide. You promise yourself, oh, I'll definitely do better next month, but you won't, because absolutely nothing is holding you to it. Which brings us to rule number 5. If nobody is checking your numbers, you will absolutely lie to yourself first. You need to track your numbers somewhere you cannot hide from. That could be a shared app that clearly shows the raw numbers. It could be a partner or a trusted friend, whatever it takes. Because a budget with no accountability, that's just a suggestion, my friend. It is definitely not a standard. All right, let's do a quick recap of these 5 standards that separate someone who actually controls their money from someone who is controlled by a lack of it. Build your budget for the real month, not the fake one. Check it weekly so you can pivot. Pay yourself first to secure your future. Recover fast from mistakes instead of just quitting. And finally, get accountability so you can't lie to yourself. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one core thought. A person who cannot run their own money cannot lead effectively, cannot negotiate from a position of strength, and cannot walk away from situations that do not serve them. Fixing your budget goes way, way beyond just playing around with spreadsheets. It is fundamentally about getting your leverage back in life. So if you're serious about running your life by a standard instead of just by accident, I highly encourage you to hit subscribe for more insights exactly like this one. Now, I want to leave you with one final, totally honest question to chew on. Which of these 5 rules is the one that has been quietly killing your budget? Figure that out, fix it, and take your leverage back.